Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 9 of Shooting the Shit podcast with me, Lee, the Dorset Spur, after an international break, which was obviously much needed after the result that led to it. Alongside me today, I have some good friends of mine. I have Dino. Hello, Dino. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Alongside Dino, we also have Jason standing in for Sweary Alex, who's unfortunately working today. All right, Jace, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, Lee, thanks for the invite back. Really appreciate it, mate. Good to be back with the guys.
Really appreciate you stepping in, mate. Honestly,
Right.
it's great to have you here. And alongside Jason, we also have Mason. I love it. I love the way that kind of links together. All right, Mason, how you doing, buddy?
All good here, Lee. How are you?
Yeah, surviving. I had a good weekend. I've had a good weekend. I've got to promote it. South Dorset Spurs, for which I am a member, along with Jason, hosted an evening with Graham Roberts, and I was asked to be the host, which was an experience. It's a bit nerve wracking, to be honest, but I got through it, and what a really interesting evening it was. Robbo was brilliant on the night. I have to say, some great stories and that. Really down to earth and everything. And the guys at South Dorset Spurs did a brilliant job. We did it at the Lugger Inn over in Chickerell in Weymouth, and Liam, who's the landlord there, did an amazing job. And all the guys, Paul and that decorating the room and stuff like that. It went really, really well. So kudos to those guys. I wanted to give them a shout out because they did such a great job of it. And if you want to see those videos, my wife kindly did a bit of videoing while I was talking to him. So those are also on the channel if anyone wants to kind of go along and have a look at them. Anyway, that's enough about that. So international break. First question, I guess, and we'll kind of go around the room. Jace, I'll start with you. But international break, what are you like? Are you a fan of international football outside of like the tournaments? Are you a fan? Do you watch all the matches?
Oh, I watched the Greece game, and yeah, I kicked my shoes off, put my feet up on the sofa, and sort of lay back and watched the game. And to tell you the truth, don't pay much attention to it, to be honest with you. Not like I do for Spurs. I mean, when it's non-tournament football, it's not the best. But fair play to Lee Carsley. He tried to shoehorn. I think he was trying to show his inner Ozzy Ardiles with the attacking formation that he had with Palmer and Bellingham and everybody wedged into there, and it just didn't work. And we ended up on a 2-1 loss. So at Wembley as well, which is a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
But on the follow-up game against Finland away, I was lost somewhere on the Tube network because there's loads of closures on the lines coming back from Tottenham on Sunday. So I missed it. I just saw the highlights of the goals, which I think Trent and Alexander scored an absolute pearl of a free kick.
Yeah,
but apart from that, it wasn't particularly exciting. So it's nice to have a break because, as you know, we spend a lot of time on the road. Every couple of weeks, sometimes more than that, getting up to Tottenham. So it's good to take a bit of time out. But yeah, I look forward to the next tournament. But this Nations League thing, yeah, it kind of just goes on my head, really.
Yeah. No, I'm a little bit the same. Dino, what about you? Are you an international football fan?
Not really. I'll tell you. I mean, back in like the 1996, that was brilliant. That was so good. But the football of late has just been absolutely dire. It really has. It's been slow, laborious. Right, Lee Cardi came in and tried to do a bit, and like Jason said, trying to shoehorn every person he could in that attack. It just didn't work because we had no defence. And it was kind of like watching Spurs at some point. It really was. We played such a high line. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I am sort of English through and through, and I do support England. My old man was the same. He'd watch England play like tiddlywinks if he could, because he was that patriotic. But it's just like dire football until you get into like the World Cup or the sort of the Euros. But yeah, this Nations League thing is just pants. It's just another competition to earn money.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mason, what about you? Being the young man that you are you fully England, or are you not really bothered?
Of course, like you've always got to back England, but I've always been club over country myself. I'd rather as much as it pains to say it, I'd much rather watch Spurs play on a weekend than England. But when it comes around to Euros and the World Cup, obviously you're intrigued, but this Nations League stuff, it's a glorified friendly. If I'm being honest, I'm not really fussed about it.
Yeah, no, I have to say, Dean, I'm with you, right? I haven't enjoyed international football since Euro '96. I loved it. It was a brilliant competition. I was living in Bedford at the time, and we had a great time watching those games. Italian '90 was another one I really enjoyed, because in Bedford it's a big Italian population, so they did a thing where you could get a pizza for half price when England were playing live on the telly. So I ate a lot of pizzas, in 1990. I haven't really enjoyed international football since, and I'm not a fan of all these friendlies and the kind of build-up games and all that kind of stuff. It just, there's nothing in it. And I say I am English through and through. All my parents, my grandparents are all Londoners and stuff like that. So I can't even go back and say, well, I'm going to go and support Wales or Scotland or someone. I can't even do that, even though I'm thinking about, like I said before, I'm going to think about doing my ancestry thing to see if I can get some kind of link to Argentina or something. Well, Brazil, they'll find some long lost relative from Brazil that I can just claim that I'm Brazilian. So just to kind of get into it, maybe. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of the international breaks, if I'm honest. Apart from, like Jason says, having that little bit of time off from all the travelling and the turmoil of Tottenham and the roller coaster that has become on a lot of the time. So I guess it brings us nicely onto the next question. I'll start with you, Dean, on this one, right? But has the international break given you a chance to calm down after the loss to Brighton?
Yeah, time's a great healer, so they say, don't they? But it's still there. It's still kind of raw, and you're trying to figure out how we lost that game. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, after a bit of time, you do calm down. I mean, if you would have, we'd have put this up straight after the game, there wouldn't be a bleep machine on the planet that would be able to cope with the amount of abuse and swearing that would have been coming through mine, Alex's, yours, or, Mace. It wouldn't have happened. It just couldn't have coped. It would have just been boom.
Yeah, I think that's why it's probably as well to do this kind of midweek, so you've got an opportunity to let things settle down. I say on my channel all the time that I try to be the voice of reason. I try to look at things as reasonably as possible. But you know what we're like after the game. There is no way that I'm ever going to be reasonable, or I'm either going to be up here or down there, and I'll be shouting and swearing and moaning, and we're all the same. So this isn't really a true reflection of me watching football, if I'm honest.
No,
but I do try to do that.
You think of LTs, right? You go in LT after a good win, that place is bouncing. Yeah. All you guys don't want to go home. You want to, you wait the bus drivers are going, come on. You go, no, just one more. Yeah, you go. But after a loss, LTs is just dead, isn't it? It's just weird. It's amazing what football can do to you. It really is.
It can ruin your whole week, can't it?
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're playing someone that you really don't want to lose to. I guess it can be a real problem for people going back to work on that, because obviously most of us have probably got West Ham relatives, Arsenal relatives, Chelsea relatives, or friends that are that you work with. I mean, one of my bosses was a Chelsea fan, and that was painful having to be nice to him sometimes about football, because he used to give me loads anyway. But yeah, it's a real difficult one. Mason, are you calmed down now, or is it still raw for you?
Just put it this way, I haven't watched the highlights still. I refuse to. It's just annoying. Well, it's every year though, isn't it? Beat a big team, lose to a team you should really win, but it's just annoying, really. But yeah, I've calmed down a lot more. Just see what's around the corner.
Jace, you're a really happy-go-lucky guy, and you're quite calm influence generally. Are you calmed down? Are you still raging over that loss?
So I'm going to use some words that begin with C. Am I allowed to do that on your channel, Lee? So I'm three words. So the first C I'm going to use is Chelsea. All right, you're going to be surprised by that. So during the game, when I sat there watching that game, we were 2-0 up, and I said to you, Lee, when are we going to play Chelsea? Because we were playing amazing football in the first half.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, and I said,
Yeah.
when are we going to play Chelsea? Because that's when the wheels will come off. You remember I said that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next C I'm going to use is comical. All right, comical defending. People just falling over each other and just kicking the air. Basically, defenders just not having a clue, completely lost their heads. And the next thing is catastrophic. You'll be pleased to know it's catastrophic. All right, that's the 3 C's. I won't drop the other one.
It goes a little bit like a bunch of.
The catastrophic effect it had on all of us, to be fair, as fans and as a team as well. You could see Ange was pretty broken at the end of that. We were pretty stunned and broken. You know, there was a wonderful. I remember taking a picture of you guys celebrating the second goal going in, and everyone was, you know, hugging each other, and as you do, and then just this silence almost at the end of the game where we just went, oh my goodness, what just happened there? So. A few memories from that day. It was nice to spend some time with people, but the ending was terrible ending. So yeah, I'm over it now. We say we're never comfortable 2 up. No. And I remember texting someone saying we need a third, maybe a fourth, maybe a fourth, and it didn't come. And you know, we've seen it so many times over the years. And it came and it hit us and it knocked us for 6. But we have to pick ourselves up for the London derby, obviously, that's coming up. So, yeah, it was pretty shoddy, really. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, as Dean says, you know, time is a great healer, and then we're talking about football, right? We're not talking about a relative passing away or losing your job or, you know, getting divorced. We're talking about a football team, and they'll be back again this weekend. But time's a great healer. Mason, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to change tack slightly and talk about Brennan Johnson, right? I know we've talked about him. When are we going to stop going 5 in 5, 6 in 6? Because we've now got 7 in 7. I know it's not for Tottenham, but for Wales, he managed to get on the end of something. A bit of a tap-in, really, but 7 in 7. I mean, is he ever going to stop scoring? I mean, I hope not. But what do you think?
No, I think the goal against I can't even remember who they played. Who did they play? Wales. I can't remember, but it was a scrappy. It was a very scrappy goal.
Macedonia, I think.
Macedonia, yeah.
It was a very scrappy goal. So it's quite lucky for it to fall to Brennan, if I'm being honest. But at the end of the day, it is 7 in 7. But I was thinking before the podcast, Lee, exactly what you said. When's it going to end? When are we going to sit here and just go, oh, well, the streak's broken? But then again, it's like last season with Richarlison, when he had 10 in 10. We were just he didn't score for a game, and then he got a brace. So you never know. It could carry on being. He could. Sorry, I missed my words here. If he doesn't score the game after, he can go and bag 2 the next, and it still carry on going. But I as I say every week, we're singing his praises, and just don't lose faith in him. There is a player in there.
Yeah, it's well deserved, isn't it? I mean, I'm really happy for the lad. You know, after going through some shit, shall I say. To kind of just keep banging them in there, however they come and against whoever they come against, it really doesn't matter. He's still got to put the ball in the back of the net, hasn't he? So yeah, really good stuff for him. I'm really pleased, and long may it continue. To be fair, Jason, I've got to ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that you were there, right? So there's been a lot of real negative sentiment around the NFL being at the Tottenham Hotspur Spurs Stadium on the weekend. I think a lot of it is probably more focused on the fact that they use the terminology Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the home of NFL in London. And that's kind of stirred up a few of the old school and probably some of the new school and some of those that complain about everything anyway. But as an NFL fan who was there on Sunday, what do you make of all of that? What was the experience like, and how do you feel about Tottenham Hotspur Stadium being the home of the NFL in the UK?
Yeah, first of all, it was on the bucket list for years to go and see an NFL game, and then the actual real one off the bucket list was the Chicago Bears. So that was since I was sat in a school next to someone that supported the Redskins, and he said, "What do you want to go for?" And I went the Bears, instead of the Miami Dolphins or whatever. So ever since I was, back at school, I wanted to see Chicago Bears. So when a ticket came up, I was like, I want to go and see this. It's a spectacle. It's huge. It's a little bit of America moving to UK just for a few hours. I want to experience that. So that's why I went. I got a ticket. I got a ticket in the southwest corner, about 16 rows up. And I was right. The atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. There were bands playing in the street. There was DJs. There was an amazing atmosphere. And the thing to take away from it all was the different shirts that were there, all the different NFL teams represented. I had a Bears top on that I just got off Amazon or whatever. But the Green Bay and the Cardinals and the Jaguars and every different color. It made it look spectacular in the stadium. All the different colors and people mixing and talking about the game. I'm not an MF. I haven't got a Scooby about NFL, not one bit. I just wanted to go and experience it. And like I do, I like to experience stuff in our stadium. I've been to concerts. I've been to the rugby. The showdown with Saracens and Harlequins. And various other bits and pieces. I've done the go-karting. I've been up the Skywalk. I love going there, and I'm really happy to go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I don't mind spending a little bit of money to do that because it is fantastic. And I even saw Daniel Levy, bless him, walk around with Ange at the beginning of the game, going over to the east side. So you talk about the NFL. They financed, I believe, some of the stadium. So the east side of the stadium is literally, I believe, is owned pretty much by the NFL.
Right.
So all the changing rooms and all the infrastructure and all that kind of stuff is all set up. And obviously the sliding pitch with that retracting pitch and what reveals is either a concert venue or NFL or rugby venue underneath that. So it's all set up in that respect. And I'm proud to say that it's a home of many things, let alone the NFL. So I think we should embrace the finance that comes in. I hope that gets reflected in the football side of it. But obviously, we've been frustrated with that for quite a few years. But the prices go up on the day. So it's £7.50 for a standard pint, £14 for a burger and wrinkly fries or whatever it is. It's not. I believe the match day experience is cheaper than the NFL and some of the events that go on. They put the prices up. So actually, we experience I know we don't say it quite a lot, but a little bit of a discount in that respect. But it's good. People are spending money. The guy on my bus was an Arsenal fan, begrudging the fact that he had to put money in Tottenham's pocket, but he was still going, and he was doing that. So the game itself, I did not have. I was asking so many questions that the guy must have been absolutely fretters with me. I did not have a clue. But the whole atmosphere, the kiss cam, who do you look like cam, the whole atmosphere, when they score a touchdown and the flags are coming out and all the songs come on and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely, I can't recommend it enough. What a day! But it's expensive, and it's certainly tick the bucket list. So I was happy to be there, but it's not for everyone, obviously.
Just a question on it, Jason. In terms of the area around Tottenham, does that get like business and that as well, or is it all just focused in the stadium? Like, I'm thinking about the local pubs and the local restaurants and stuff around there. Are they getting a tickle of all of that?
I'd say they're getting their fair share. All the pubs down from down from Seven Sisters were absolutely rammed. Everywhere was rammed. All the burger stalls were rammed. I didn't get up to the Gilpin. I just came up the high road and then went into from Seven Sisters and then straight into the stadium almost. After I soaked up a bit of the atmosphere, but everywhere was packed. All the normal standard stuff that you get was heaving. The corner pin everywhere. So they're all gaining the benefit of the extra events in that area, and it was good to see.
Yeah, I guess from my point of view, the key point about it is, I mean, I love all of that, right? And I personally don't have an issue with the stadium being used on non-match days to generate finance or whatever for the club. What I want, though, as a fan, and I guess what a lot of people get the ump about is the implication that this isn't about Tottenham, it's just about a venue and we just happen to be there. but the idea it was sold was all the money from all of that comes into the team, comes into the infrastructure to make Tottenham sustainable for the future. And I guess it's early days really to be able to know whether that's really ever going to happen. Because, to be fair, at this moment in time, we have started to spend some money. Whether it's on the right players or not, that's a different debate. But we are seeing us slowly spending money, building a squad, and so on and so forth. But I guess, us old people like to kind of arc back to standing in the shelf side in the cage with crappy seats and horrible food and all that kind of stuff, and we all kind of live in the past, and that's why retro is so big. So Mason, I was going to come to you on this. I know we talked about it quickly, but at this NFL event, Amanda Staveley, is that how you say her name? I'm not sure if that's how you say her name. She's been in the stadium a couple of times, from what I can gather, if you can believe the news and stuff. Links about her being raising investment to come into Tottenham and so on. What's your view on that? How do you feel about someone who's kind of been at Newcastle, now kind of being linked with us, and her links to the Middle East and all those kind of human rights stuff that's got kind of thrown at the Newcastle owners and stuff? What's your view on all of that?
Yes, it's a very, very dodgy subject, really, isn't it? Just about where the money comes from. But on Amanda Staveley, it's she had an interview a few weeks ago talking about how sad she was leaving Newcastle to find other business ventures, couldn't carry on there anymore. And she has said that Newcastle was now her club. She's a Yorkshire Geordie. She will always have Newcastle in her heart. So it's just like saying stuff like that, and then saying you want to buy into another club. Really, it doesn't sit right with me. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me. It's just as long as if I can see an improvement on the pitch, then fair enough. But Levy's been looking for an investment for a while. He said that, didn't he? He said it in the past two fan forums that he's been looking for a minority investment. I don't know how much money she's going to invest, or her and her husband are going to invest, but it's just, I just want to see an improvement on the pitch. She's been there 3 times now. I think one was the NFL, one was a recent concert, and one was Brentford when we won 3-1. She was in attendance all 3 times, but it's just, I know it's very like tight lips around the whole subject right now. It's I think Amanda Staveley said in the same interview, they asked what can you say about it? And she said right now not a lot. So there's not really a lot to go off on. But I think the rumours are true that she will be investing before the end of the year.
I just it's just interesting. I mean, I don't know a lot of details about her or family or whatever. I don't even know the reasons why they left Newcastle. I mean, do you know what all that was about? Why they left?
Clue.
I've got no idea why she was pushed out of there. But I know that people with money know that football is a money spinner for sure. And with Daniel Levy not being, or ENIC even not being up to sell because it makes too much money, I guess investment is probably the next best thing in terms of selling a stake and raising money for the next venture, whether that goes into the team or to finance a hotel. No one really knows. The other thing that came out of that, Mason, is the rumours about Eddie Howe to Tottenham.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, if you want my honest opinion, I think it's a load of shit. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if that topic was brought up. It wouldn't surprise me at all, because they went out of their way to hire Howe at Newcastle. Like their ideas aligned with Eddie Howe. So it's kind of a tough one, because it might be true, but is it going to happen? I don't think so. And unless we see a massive dip in form or whatever, like we did with Conte, where we ended up being, I mean, at the time we were 5th, but if we ended up finishing 9th or 10th even, like where we are in the league now, then maybe something happened at the end of the season. But right now, I don't think there's any reason why we'd replace Andrew with Eddie Howe. There's literally zero reason I can think of.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I in my head, and I don't know football stuff really. I just talk about what I see. But when Eddie Howe went to Newcastle, in my mind, I was thinking they're bringing him in to because at that point they were looking like they could potentially go down, right? So they're bringing him in because he's someone who knows how to bring a team back up and all the rest of it. That was what was in my head. I think he overachieved at Newcastle and did really, really well, and that's why he got himself into the position of keeping going. I personally wouldn't want to see Eddie Howe taking over from Ange. Not at the moment. I'm still fully Ange in. And that's just my opinion. I'd want to see a project through. So it'll be interesting to see that. But I guess if you're just investing, I don't think you get the say in who's going to be your manager. I think I can't see Enid giving up control. If I'm being honest. But we'll see. So anyway, while we're talking about things like that, it might be worth, as we are now kind of heading towards the end of this year. I know we're kind of mid October. So January transfer window is around the corner. So I'm going to ask you, Dean, what positions do you think we're in desperate need of strengthening at this moment in time? Any ideas what you'd like to see coming in?
Right back, left back, centre mid, and maybe another striker. So
just a couple then.
Yes, please. You are
left back, right back, centre back, midfield, striker. You don't want a lot then.
No, but we definitely need someone on the left without a shadow of a doubt. But again, we say these young kids, you know, Archie Gray, but he's a £40 million player. So he's not just like he's somebody we found on the street. He's not. He's a proper player. He plays for Leeds. So we have got a lot of positions already covered, but the players haven't played enough football. But we're only a few games in. Like again, striker wise, if Richarlison comes back and starts playing how he was, then we do have a striker. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. We don't normally spend a lot of money in January, and it's hard to get players out of the other teams from January. So the positions I think we need sort of backup are, like I said, left back, right back, and centre mid, and a striker. But Solanke does his bit. Richarlison comes back in. Sonny comes back in. Hope Werner just gets back on the track. Lancashire, I mean, he's a good player. So you know, we are covered. We've got some cover. So don't need tons. And on that man Staveley coming in, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at a team, right? It won't because of the financial fair play. You can't throw tons of money. That's what Newcastle found out. They had trillions, couldn't use it because they couldn't spend it.
Well, that was until Man City started handing the Premier League their arse. That may change. That may change.
That's massive, right? If Man City win that and the Premier League don't change anything, then people will start going, hang on a minute, you've set a precedent now. So if Man City can do it, why can't we do it? But then people like Man City that have got all that oil money will go, right, see all them we'll buy all them. I mean, Chelsea have done it brilliantly. They're just putting them on massive contracts, which so the debt is like eked out over years, and it that doesn't breach the rules.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen. People are going to be on long-term contracts. Yeah, they are, but they'll be let go in 3 years, just same as others.
Yeah.
It's a way of playing the game.
Yeah, I guess I'm with you. To be honest with you, on that point of view, in terms of the transfer, it is a bit early to see. We've only played 7 Premier League games, but there is a long way to go, and there's hopefully a lot more games to play in other competitions as well. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. Like you said, there is cover for a lot of these positions. You know, you've got Gray who can play right, left, and he can play centre. You've got Jed Spence who can play right, left, defence. You know, you've got Sonny to come back. You know, Odebear to come back. Lancashire as well to go up front. You've got Richarlison to come back. It's just what they do. I mean, if you ask me, what's our key position that we need cover for? In my mind, I'm thinking a number 6, someone in the centre mid who can really, hold things up and shore things up if you really, really need to. But we've got players in there. It's just whether they're performing to the right level. And I guess with the Brighton game being so raw, that's kind of where you put your head when you're trying to make those sort of decisions.
And it's Bentancur thing as well. We're still waiting on the Bentancur decision.
Yeah.
So that can change a load of things.
Can I just say one thing? It's cogs are turning in my mind. Dean said earlier about how Newcastle couldn't spend because of their profit sustainability rules and PSR. Do you reckon that's why Staveley's trying to buy in? Because we are the most in the green for that. Do you reckon she just wants to spend money and see a reflection? Because they did for a bit in the Champions League with Newcastle, but they didn't really see a lot of success. I mean, they finished 12th the year after, but
yeah, we can do because of, and I get that this area tons and tons of Levy out, right? Yeah, he drives me mad because he's always seems to be penny pinching, always. We never get we want to go sort of like Harrods or Waitrose shopping, and we end up going to Aldi's or something like that, to get ours. That's what it seems to us as supporters. But they don't turn out bad. I mean, you look at Van der Ven. Van der Ven weren't our first choice.
No.
Is it Tapsoba or something like that? We
Tapsoba,
wanted to go. Yeah, wanted him. We've got Van der Ven. Best in the league, without a doubt. So, the data-led thing must be doing its job. But at the same time, like I say, that's Staveley. Yes, he can spend money because of what Levy's doing.
Yeah.
He's kept us in the green and the concerts and the stadium and the NFL. So, yeah, you've got to give him some due.
Yeah.
But not too much.
I think we could you could probably do a whole 2-hour podcast just talking about Daniel Levy and how people feel about Daniel Levy, the good things he's done, the bad things he's done, and all the rest of it. And I don't think anyone can sit there and say, the guy has been an absolute success for the club. But then equally, if you're being really honest, I don't think you can say he's been an absolute disaster either. You can talk about silverware as much as you like as a gauge to how good you are as a club. But it's just so difficult to break into that kind of closed shop, I guess. If you look back at all the teams, the Liverpools, the Man Uniteds, even dare I say it, the Arsenals, the Man Cities, the Chelseas, they've always been the ones that have been able to spend, big money when they've needed to. Arsenal to a lesser extent, although they have spent a lot of money over the last few years with Arteta. But I guess with the early day in the 90s and all the rest of it with Wenger, he was very lucky to have a brilliant crop of players come through from France and stuff like that. And his knowledge of that game, he did brilliantly for them. And once you've got that core, it's just adding to it. And that's what, when you look at Man City now, they're just adding to the core. They don't have to go out and do this complete rebuild. And I think from our point of view, we're still in that position of trying to get that rebuild started, which kind of brings me on to my next question for Jason, actually. Romero. There's been a bit of talk about Romero being up for sale or people wanting to buy him and stuff like that. And I've seen a little bit of chatter of people saying, you know what, if it was X amount of money, I'd take it because of how he's been playing or whatever. And others are saying, no, mate, if you've got a Rolls Royce of a defender, you need to keep those best players. We've gone past the days of selling off the crown jewels. That's where we don't want to be doing that. Where do you stand on that, Jace, in terms of Romero? Would you, if someone came in and offered 150 million quid, are you taking that? Or are you saying, no, we've got to build on this?
Do you know, Romero is a tough one because as a fan watching him, you think that guy's hard as a coffin nail. Some of the tackles he flies in with, gets away with sometimes. You think that's the kind of defender. He's in some ways he's quite old school in his approach. You hosted Graham Roberts the other day, and I know Graham said he probably wouldn't have had Kuti in his team because he wouldn't have made the grade. But that kind of similar ilk of smash. I'm going to get the ball no matter how I do it, and I might get sent off doing it. And in some ways, the fans buy into that. They like it. They like a hard nut footballer. But he has been responsible for quite a few of the mistakes that have gone on since the start of this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe 4 or 5 goals, maybe. I think it's that high that he's not directly or has been directly responsible for. And has his head been turned already? Has he, has Real Madrid come in and wobbled his head all over the place and that's it, he's going to be off skin? But when you're just starting to get something going with Van der Ven and Udogie and Porro in that back four, I know Brighton's not the best example, but when they're starting to get something going, that little acorn of we're going to move towards some sort of maybe some success, it'll be off. And that is old school Tottenham. That is selling the people out the door to get the best buck to then move on to the next one. So would I let him go? As it stands at the moment, I probably would. Yeah, I'd take the money and try and buy someone that might not give away 4 or 5 goals at the start of the season. So, there are plenty of defenders out there, and I think he. Yeah, I'm the jury's out on him. I'm afraid for me, and he's probably a goner for me. To be honest with you, I know it's controversial, but it just doesn't seem at it at the moment. It's sad to see, I think.
I don't think it's as controversial as maybe you think, to be honest with you, because I have seen a fair bit of chattering around him, whether he should or shouldn't stay or whatever. And it is an interesting one. It's a difficult one because I'm of the mindset like I want us to keep the best players. I want us to buy the best players, and I want us to keep the best players. I want us to develop the best players. Right? I don't want us to sell just for the money. But at the same time, if a player's not performing, then and there's someone better there, like there's a plan, a replacement plan of something better or something you believe is going to be better, then I'm kind of in for it. I'm in for it as well. You say about his head being turned by Real Madrid. The other thing that's been kind of muted is the fact that he has one eye on playing for Argentina and doesn't want to get too involved with stuff because he doesn't want to get injured for Argentina and this, that, and the other. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but I'm like you. I'm on the fence with it. Like I don't want him to go because I think he's a really good defender, but I want him to be playing as good as he can do, not how he's been playing recently, where he's been at fault for, like you say, 4 or 5 goals maybe. The other one, Jace, while I'm still talking to you, Porro is the other one that's kind of been muted, and talks about him to Madrid and his comments about, being a big, massive club in his own country and all the rest of it. For me, I'm kind of almost at the point where I'm thinking losing Porro would be worse than losing Romero. How do you think? What do you think of that?
You wouldn't. It's crazy to say. I remember the start he had. Do you remember Tim Sherwood absolutely wrote him off? And then he's chipped in. I think at the beginning of the season he had the most shots out of anybody in our squad. Attacking wise, he was absolutely fantastic. Defensive, he's got little moments where he lapses, but I quite like him. I think he seems to embrace everything about the club. He seems to have a smile on his face. He seems to commit, 100%. And out of the 4 of them, he's probably one of the most consistent people for me in that defensive line. But again, if Real Madrid come knocking, people generally don't want to turn them down, and we've just been suckered for it over the years. Gareth Bale and Luka Modric. You think of the wonderful players we've had that we've lost to that team. And why wouldn't we? Because they are... Yeah. They are, the Galacticos. They're just the best, aren't they? Let's face it. Well, they have been. Maybe not so much at the minute, but the name at Real Madrid, and that's it. You sucked in. Yeah, okay, no problem. I'm off. So
I mean, even my grandsons are like 9 and 10, and even they're fully Real Madrid and all the history of Real Madrid, and they know everything about. It's just the brand, isn't it? It's just a brand, and Porro being Spanish as well. There's obviously going to be a link there in terms of knowing the history and all that kind of stuff. It kind of just seems to fit, doesn't it? I guess.
don't want to be the feeder club, though, do we, for Real Madrid?
No.
Don't want to be the feeder club.
No, absolutely not. I want kids in Spain to be talking about Tottenham, not kids in
Come
England
the other way.
talking about bloody Real Madrid. Anyway, we've kind of chatted a little bit about different things that are going on. A really interesting chat, actually. But as you know, weekend comes and we have a match this weekend, and it's a London derby against one of the teams that really dislike us, along with many others. The Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Leicesters, the Southamptons. I mean, you name it, they all hate us. But they see this as a big derby. This is West Ham, and we always rib them about it being their cup final, and they always raise their standard and all the rest of it because they're playing a big club. And I've actually saw Josh James has put a video out about the deluded derby or something, which is quite funny. But I just wanted to kind of ask you guys how you feel about it. So I'll start with Mason, being the younger one, just to get a different view on this. Is this a big derby for you? Are you desperate for us to absolutely beat these guys?
I think if you was to, what I say about this is, a lot of people I work with are West Ham. Quite a few people Liverpool and so on. I think it comes down to, like stay with me here. I think it comes down to where you live in the UK as to how big the game is. Because I know Spurs fans who don't give a toss about West Ham. But where me and Dean live, everyone's West Ham. We want to do them. Every annoying prick down the road is a West Ham fan. So for us, we want to beat them. I want us to absolutely smash West Ham. But other Tottenham fans that I know are like, I don't really care. So I can imagine like a Spurs fan who lives in, let's just say, West London. They hate Brentford because loads of people over there are Brentford fans. I can imagine it's the same thing for them, that they want us to go and smash Brentford. It's a London derby, and everyone they know is a Brentford fan, and so on. It's the same thing here. It's just I personally can't stand West Ham. So it's a big game for me. But for other Spurs fans, maybe not. But it's as you say, Lee, it's their biggest game of the year. The old West Ham lot. It's like Christ.
Yeah, Dean, you're in the same area as not the same area, but close by, same county, should I say, as Mason and Alex. Is that you share that view, being the other end of the age spectrum? Is that still a massive game?
Fucking hate them. You can all see them when we used to go up on the train, right?
Oh yeah.
And you see them that they would all be Danny Dyer. They've all got the same doing a
You can hear them from a mile away. They've got the Peaky Blinders hat on, right? The tight skinny jeans, the white shirt. You can spot a West Ham fan down here a mile off. Don't have to have any colours. It's the way and they all cut like look, all kiss each other. Fucking hate them. Take your fucking jellied eels and your fucking whelks and fuck off down the Thames, you cut. I really fucking hate them.
So I'm going to have to look at the time of this. So I'm going to have to snip this one. 43 minutes. I'm going to have to get this one snipped. Take your jelly deals and your whelks.
So it is a good derby for us, and we want to smash them all the time. Right. When I went to Chelsea, watched the Chelsea game last season. Chelsea was singing about us in the pub and all sorts. We don't care about Chelsea. Don't care. Don't give a toss. But for us, this end, we want to beat the West Ham. But like Mason said, where you are in the country depends on how much you hate a certain team.
Yeah. Jace, you're with me down in Dorset. You're down with me in Dorset. So I'm going to ask you as well. What do you feel? Is this a big derby for you? How do you feel about it? Do you want them to fuck off down the Thames with their whelks, or are you left?
I actually follow that.
I don't think you can.
No, it's a bigger game. I've seen us celebrate when we do on the odd occasion beat them. That South Stand after on the concourses has been pretty good, to be honest with you. It's quite a nice feeling. But they are one of those teams that they somehow managed to up their game against us, and they've had a terrible start to the season. But you can guarantee that they will turn up on Saturday. And also, I don't think the timing helps us too much. It's never great at a lunchtime kickoff, 12:30 or whatever it is. Is it 12:30? It is 12:30. I better check my train times, or else I'll be sat on the Thames somewhere. But yeah, no, it's a big game. Only London derby's a big game for me, and it's one you want to win. And it's a great atmosphere in the ground, especially when we do win. So I've got a lot of West Ham friends back from the day that I'd be quite happily messaging on Saturday night if we do it over them. So yeah, it's good. I'm really looking forward to it. I just wish it was like an evening kickoff under the lights or something like that. That'd be a cracking atmosphere. But no.
Yeah, I literally just checked myself just to make sure it is 12:30. Is it 12:30?
Hello, viewers.
Yeah, it is 12. It is 12:30. It is 12:30.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, so listen, I obviously I'm down in Dorset, but I grew up in Hackney, and I've got so many members of my family who are West Ham. Right, I've got cousins who are West Ham. My wife is a West Ham fan. Although she's probably been to more Tottenham games than she has West Ham games, to be fair. But when we play them, she's always a West Ham fan. She never let it go. So I've got cousins, she's got cousins and uncles and family members are all West Ham. So, and I have to be honest, when I was about 8 or 9, it's true.
No.
When I was about 8 or 9, I was taken to see West Ham play when I was a little kid, with a mate and his dad. So I actually went to West Ham before I even went to Tottenham and watched the game there. So I never really developed that hatred for West Ham, but I know how much they hate us, right? I know how much they hate us. But when it comes to playing them, I just want to beat them, right? And the main reason I want to beat them is because if we don't beat them, I'm going to get so much shit from family and friends and all the rest of it. I get bantered here, there, everywhere over it because it's West Ham and because they know how big a Tottenham fan I am. So for me, absolutely want to beat them. And it is, it's as big as a cup final for me as well. And I'm proud to say that. And I know West Ham absolutely desperately want to beat us. But as you say, after the game, if we beat them in the concourses, they will be going mad. The rabbi will be leading it in there, absolutely, and I'll be right behind him, mate, giving it some of this. So fingers crossed we'll be able to do that, and we'll get a couple of videos. Fingers crossed. If we don't, I'll be sulking and coming home with a right ump. So just wanted to, whilst we're talking about this game, obviously, I just wanted to check. What do you think about this? It's a big game, right? We've all said it's a big game. We want to beat them and all the rest of it. Is this the sort of game we need? Dean, is this the sort of game we need now? Do we need to play a game like this to get us back into the swing of things, or do you think a nice easy game against Ipswich would have been better? And no disrespect to Ipswich.
No, but yeah and no, because they done well, didn't they? Was it 4-0? They won. Was it 4-0 their last game? So yeah, they've had a bit of a result, and we've had a sort of loss. So if we'd have carried on playing the way we was playing, I would have definitely said, yeah, let's hurry out and play West Ham. Let's hurry out and play Chelsea. So, but they raise their game, which what I can't understand is why don't we raise our game? You've got people like Porro. They understand where the fans are coming from, but we don't seem to raise our game for that sort of team. I mean, I remember, is it Ogbonna? Was it Ogbonna that done that? It's just an immense shot. Like, it was an absolute weldy. And then Sonny come up and sort of levelled us. But yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one. It's one that East of England fans want to win, I guess. Or the East Essex, we want to win. But for others, it might just be a game. But I'm really hoping that we do up our game and we smash them.
Yeah, Mason, they've got quite a good record against us at the new stadium. First team to win there, and so on and so forth. Are you concerned about having West Ham in this game?
50-50, really. Same as Dean. It's just they always up their game. I don't know why we don't up ours. We don't match the same. It kind of sums up, really. If they hate us more than we hate them. So Spurs players will sit there and go, okay, just another game. Whatever, crack on. West Ham, because it is their cup final. The West Ham players will be so up for it. They will play 10 times better than they usually will. Like what's it called? Like last year, didn't we lose 2-1 last year to West Ham? I think we did. But even then, you could see the players weren't given as much desire as the West Ham players were. But it's just, I'm a little bit concerned. Going back to the question, a little bit concerned because it is form, but at the same time, it's West Ham, but we need to play better than we did last game. Either way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think it's all about intensity in these kind of derbies. For me, for me, the big derby is the North London derby. I think it's one of the best derbies in the Premier League. Regardless, I do think Tottenham versus Chelsea is another really big derby for different reasons, and I think this is probably probably in there as well. So that the three of them are probably really big derby. I don't look at Brentford in the same way. I don't look at Fulham in the same way. These three are the ones that kind of really get the fans up. It's the one that lots of fans want to get to. Lots of people want to buy the tickets and stuff like that. I think we've got 2 buses going up, Jason. We for SDS this weekend.
Yeah, good turn up.
That's the interest in this game as well. But they have got a good record against us, and it's all about that intensity. If we can get the players to play to the same level of intensity as they did when they started the game against Brighton, I think West Ham could be in a bit of trouble. But we've got to maintain that, and I think that's where Ange really comes into it. When that standard starts dropping, he needs to make those changes rather than standing there with his hands in his pockets, looking forlorn and a broken man, which he really did after the Brighton game, which I felt was quite worrying, to be fair. Jace, I just want to kind of finish off that little bit with you around that. West Ham this weekend. What are you thinking for this game, and what's your score prediction?
We need a reaction, don't we, on the back of what's just happened? I mean, we won the 5 games in a row. Coventry was the starter, but that wasn't the best starter you could ever have. With regards to that run. So if we revert back to that kind of play, then we're going to be in trouble, I think. I did put a draw on your little poll that you put earlier. But, these games normally have a few goals in. So maybe a 3-2 to us. I'll change my tack and go maybe a win for us. But I think there's going to be a lot of goals, like there generally is these days with our defence being as it is. So, yeah, a hopeful 3-2 win.
Yeah. Dean, what's your score prediction?
Same. That's where I was going to go. I was going to go 3-2. We can't keep a clean sheet. It's like being an old people's home for us at the moment. We just can't keep clean sheets. So I don't know. I think
I'm going to have to bookmark that one as well. 53 minutes. It's like old people's home. You can't keep a clean sheet. Like it.
So, yeah.
Comedy genius, mate. You're a comedy genius. I don't know. You're wasting your time on here. You'll be on the stage with a rope round your neck. So, 3-2 for you. All right. Mason, again, you've got to follow that. So, what are you saying?
Yeah, no, I don't know how to about that, Christ. But I reckon it'll be a tight game, yeah. But maybe not 3-2, maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1. It's just... But it can very easily go the other way. You can never predict with these. They always, as we've been saying, they always turn up when they play us because it is their biggest game of the year. But it is, I reckon it'll be a tight game. So I won't give a definitive answer, but it's either going to be a 1-0 or a 2-1.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised, actually, Jason and Dean went for 3-2 because that was actually my prediction. That's what I was thinking. Like you, I can't see us not conceding. But I can see us scoring. But if it's going to be 3-2, I'm almost at the point where I think it could be 3-2 either way. Like I'm at that point now. Where I mean, it could either be 3-2 to us or 3-2 to them. Either way, yeah. I could see either of those things happening. And it really depends on whether Tottenham of the first half against Brighton turn up or Tottenham of the second half of Brighton turn up? Which ones turn up? That will be the key, because obviously West Ham, they can concede goals, right? So you've got to look at it and think there's a good chance on it. So anyway, listen, in my poll, so I did a poll of the South Dorset Spurs boys and girls, and we had 29 votes. So is that you so that must be you, Jason, in the draw, is it?
Is that just me all alone in that draw?
Yeah. Yes. So it's just you in the draw. But out of those 29 votes, we've actually got 27 saying yes, we're going to smash them. We've got one saying no, it's going to be Spursy, and then we've got the one draw from Jason. I do have another WhatsApp group that I'm in as well, which I put it out to there. And I had 12 votes in that one. And 10 of them were, yes, we're going to smash them. And 2 were, no, we're going to be Spursy. So overwhelmingly, the Spurs fans that I talk to on a regular basis are all saying that this is going to be a win for Tottenham. So I'm hoping that is absolutely bang on, because if it's not, it's going to be a horrible ride home. And it's going to be, and I can't even drink too much because I've got to drive when I get back, because I'm getting picked up, and no one else from my little group is going who's going to drive me, so I've got to drive myself to the pickup point. Bit disappointing. Anyway, listen, we're at 56 minutes. Can you believe that hour flew by really quickly? I really enjoyed chatting to you guys. It's been a really interesting chat. So Jason, you at the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I'm staying over Friday night, so I'll be up there a little bit earlier at the Gilpin. So
okay, cool. Dino, you're going to be there?
I'll be there.
And Mason, you're going to be there?
I will be there.
And your dad's going to be there?
And the old man will be there, yeah.
Okay, we'll have a little bit of a get together just before the game. Maybe have a couple of early drinks. I'll be drinking shandy, I expect. Is McLovin coming?
He's not, unfortunately. He does listen to the podcast though, so McLovin, hello.
Big shout out to McLovin. You know who you are. Oh, and by the way, on Saturday night I met up with your mate. Does he run a pub?
He does, yeah. Ermias. He texted me earlier saying how much of a lovely bloke you were. So I think I'm seeing him Friday now.
All right, well, give him my best, and we'll give him a shout out, because he did come over and speak to me at the thing and wish me luck doing the presenting with or the hosting with Graham Roberts, which was good, because I was shitting a brick. There was no clean sheets. There were no clean sheets there either. I tell you. So anyway, listen, all that's left to say is thanks to you guys for coming along and chatting football with me. Thanks to everybody who's watching or listening on audio platforms. This will be out on audio platforms on Wednesday. I really appreciate all the likes, all the comments, and the feedback that I'm getting. It's really interesting. I know this isn't the biggest podcast out there. There are people out there with far bigger audiences than this, but this is really great therapy for me, and I have a really great time at doing it. So I hope those of you that are listening or watching have enjoyed this, and you'll join us again on the next one next week. But after that, I'll just leave it there and say, up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Down the Spurs.